Here is another quick 9 playthrough here on the channel for you all. The date and the divisions, of course, shown on screen in the thumbnail. Remember to hit thumbs up and subscribe to the channel as well. Timestamps in the description down below, and remember the replays here are from old tournaments, so use the old ball attribute levels, which have now, of course, doubled. Hope you're enjoying Quick 9. Good luck, and remember to tweak according to your clubs and balls and wind angles. Here we go. Here we're going to play with APOC and the Grizzly. APOC 5 plus will start at the top of plus 10 yards. APOC 4 will start at P3 max rest. We're going to use 5.8 top spin and 2 bars left spin. In the end I do change to 2. APOC 5 and 6 you will have the red ring touching the rough on the left. APOC 4 you will have 20% of the red ring overlapping the rough because you've got a slightly less accurate driver. The adjustment here is max plus 10. Even with APOC 5, this will take us into overpower, so we need to apply whatever overpower we are adjusting into. APOC 4, you're going to be about 2 or 3 rings into OP, unfortunately, but it's up to you if you want to try and play with a higher power ball to mitigate that need for overpower, then you can do. Perfect ball, bouncing on the fairway, comfortably over the rough, and we're rolling along here towards the right hand side of the fairway. Drive distance around 365. Second shot, make a bottom white ring fringe check. So look at the bottom white ring touching the fringe where it meets the green in line with the pin. Plus 3 here is my reference. Then I'm adding approximately half a bar of topspin, and then finding the position with the top of the red ring touching the rough line and the ball guide passing the left edge of the cup. For plus 3 with Grizzly 9, that will be plus 6 with Grizzly 7 and 8. We're going to play this one 82% slider, 0 elevation, and you should use Grizzly 9 numbers regardless of your club level. Finally, you make 2 pulls over the bullseye. It's 2% per yard difference on your bottom white ring fringe check, so if yours was plus 2, you're a little bit nearer. You would play 80% slider instead, and so on. Making our adjustment, then just centre the ball nicely, hit perfect, and you're going to catch the rough. It is great safe either side, of course, and we're dropping this one for the eagle right at the pin. Very nice wind angle to start with. We're going to go with 5 top spin and 2 bars side spin to the left with our APOC and a kingmaker. Red ring touching the rough on the left with APOC 5 and 6, top of plus 10 yards. APOC 4 starts at P3 max and will have 20% of the red ring overlapping the rough. And once we've found our position there, you can look at the ball guide as well, of course, with spin added, but we're going to adjust max plus 10, power 3 settings, and then it's time to take our shot. Plain ball shot, no overpower, no curl, just centre the ball nicely and focus on hitting perfect. Bouncing over the rough very nicely with a perfect ball, and we're looking for a drive distance here of around 375 yards. Second shot is going to be played with the Grizzly, and we're going to perform a bottom white ring pin check. So I have the bottom of the white ring touching the pin, plus 4 with Grizzly 9 equal to plus 7 with Grizzly 7 and 8, and you're going to play this one 54% slider, minus 5 elevation. We're going to add 2 clicks or 0.2 top spin. It might be about 3 clicks actually, but whichever you think matches what I've got in the video. I call it 0.2 top spin, having the ball guide going to the front edge of the cup with the red ring touching the rough line. 54% slider, minus 5 elevation, use Grizzly 9 numbers, and remember the plus 4 reference there is for Grizzly 9, that would equal plus 7 with Grizzly 7 and 8 due to different distance of your club. 2 pulls over the bullseye, so make sure you do the same, and then just a perfect ball here, nothing else needed here, just an accurate adjustment with a perfect ball, going to catch the rough or the rocks very nicely and get us onto the green, falling at the pin for an eagle. On this par 3 we're going to find our position first, and you want the top of the white ring touching the rough, and then the ball guide passing the left edge of the cup. Okay, so there's your references, white ring touching the rough, ball guide passing left edge of the cup. Then we add spin. 2.8 backspin and 3 right spin. It will look very strange, but the wind is going to push us back towards the hole. Now we have to push rings to adjust here, never ideal, but otherwise the rocks are in the way. So I do 4.5 at a time. There's 4.5. Here comes another 4.5 to make it 9, and then the remaining rings as needed. So you can hopefully do it within 3 kind of pushes. Mid plus 20 power 2 settings is the adjustment, and use sniper 10 numbers regardless of your club level. Hit perfect, of course you will need to tweak this depending on wind strength and wind angle, but we have a reference drop here for you to build from on this tough par 3. With the par 5s here, I'm just looking for safe eagle play. We're starting at plus 10 with APOC 5 and above, blue ring touching the rough with APOC 5 and 6, adding spin, 5.8 top spin and 3 bars side spin to the right. Adjustment max plus 0 power 3. If you have APOC level 4, you start at P3 max rest, and you would have approximately 30% of the blue ring inside the rough because of less accuracy. Make our adjustment, and then we're going with 1.25 ball curl to the right. Look at the edge of the Kingmaker touching the outside tip of the triangle, and it is just before the circle drops as our overpower reference. Bouncing nicely away from the rough, over and down the middle of the next fairway. We're looking for a drive distance here of approximately 365 to 370. Second shot is going to be with the Cataclysm or the Big Dog, and we're going to add spin, and I'm going with 6.2 top spin and 1 left spin. Here with the Cat 6, I'm boxing in the red ring with the rough and the sand, but just use that as a reference. Try and set up kind of comfortably away from both so that you're not going to risk either of them with accidental overpower or a great left. Mid plus 0 here from this position. I'm not really going to bother with any slider percentage here, just a general elevation of mid plus 0, because like I said, I'm just looking to get safely to the green with a free-to-play ball for the eagle. Bouncing very nicely, and the top spin is taking us on to the green there, and we're going to get a putt, nice mid-distance putt for the eagle. Now, if you want to support us on Patreon, you can do so. Details on the screen now. As part of your perks on certain days for the Quick Nines, there will be some Patreon exclusive Master General playthroughs for those holes used. So make sure you check us out there. On this par 3, find your position first, and we want the first point where the yellow ring touches the rough on the left and the right with the quarterback. Then we add spin, and it's going to be a light 3.5 backspin, so call it 3.4, and then here it is 2.2 or 2.3 right spin, but you want to have the tip of the ball guide touching the outside line of the fringe. So make sure you've got the 2 references there. Your spin amounts might be a click or 2 removed from what I'm using in the video. It all depends what kind of area you set up with, if you kind of 1 click high or low. But it's a guide for you to build from. Min plus 15, power 3. I'm not pulling over the bullseye here though, so just doing a standard 5 and then 5.2 to make up my ring adjustments. Minor greats should still be fine here. We'll look at the bounce point right now, comfortably in the middle. Double greats might be a risk though, so try and hit perfect, and subject to any tweaks, a good chance for a hole-in-one with a Kingmaker. Hole-in-one here, we're going to play from the minimum distance line with our quarterback and a power 3 ball. Red ring touching the rough on the left. Then I'm adding 1.3 backspin, no side spin, and then time to adjust our rings. Min plus 20, power 2, and I'm not really worrying about pulling over the bullseye. I'm just going to the bullseye, and then for anything remaining, adding the extra on. So I did 10.2 rings here. That was 5.2 plus 5, so I'm not intentionally pulling all the way over the yellow. Perfect ball bouncing comfortably away from the rough, and then finding the gap, rolling onto the green nicely, hitting the pin and falling for the hole-in-one. We can send it to green here with a berserker. We're going to set up with APOC 5 plus, top of plus 24. APOC 4 would be a P5 max rest. half of the red ring inside the rough with APOC 5 and 6. Then we make our adjustment. It's going to be max plus 10, but I'm using power 3 numbers. That is deliberate, it's not a mistake. Use power 3 numbers. And if you've got APOC 4, you would probably have about 70% of the red ring inside the rough. But use Rings Bible if you want an accurate amount. Same with APOC 7 and 8. You're going to have more of the red ring on the fairway because you've got more accurate club. With APOC 5 and 6, I push up 5 rings. It's going to be slightly less rings to push up with APOC 4 because you have less accuracy. So I would estimate about 4.5 rings instead. 3/4 ball curl to the right, full overpower with a slow needle and hit perfect. But I would advise you to take a token or two. With these aggressive shots up in master, they will need tweaking based on wind strength and wind angle. But all being well, you got a short wedge or a putt for the eagle. Now, although you can support us financially on Patreon, you can also join as a free member. If you do that, you will get bonus master level text guide content from the Coalition. They produce text guides for free every tournament, free to play balls, and we send those out when they do so. And they very kindly agreed to let me share their archives of all the courses used in this season of Quick Nines for you all to use, because there may be some wind angles that you get as part of the Quick Nines that they have in their archive. So you will receive those if you join us as a free member on our Patreon. Here we're going to need the APOC and the Grizzly. 2 top spin, 3 right spin, and it's the red ring touching the rough on the right with APOC 5 and 6 at the top of plus 0. APOC 4 you will be at plus 6 with 20% of the red ring overlapping the rough. Push rings to adjust, otherwise the bushes there are going to obscure your view of the rings. So push rings to adjust, max plus 0, power 3 settings. Going with some curl here, half a ball of curl to the right, and just before the circle drops as our overpower reference. Hitting perfect here. If you do adjust into overpower with APOC 4, then I would add that on accordingly. But APOC 5, you're going to be fine. And we're going to get a drive distance here of around 325 yards. Don't want to push it much further because I'm going to play rings from min with the Grizzly. So finding the minimum distance line, I've added here 2.7 top spin. Might need to vary depending on your drive distance, but then I'm counting up rings from min and having the top left of the red ring touching the rough, and then the ball guide going to the pin. Here I pushed up 7 rings from min, so I'm going to play this 9% slider. You'll see actually the tip of the ball guide is just through the back of the cup, so keep that reference, otherwise you might be short. So tweak the top spin, make sure the ball guide is going just through the back of the cup. 7 rings from min is going to be played 9% slider, 0 elevation, power 3 settings. 1 pull here because we're less than 10 rings, so no need to worry about pulling over the bullseye twice in this instance. Perfect ball away, and you can have a decent chance. If your drive is too long, then you will not be able to play with the Grizzly. You'll be with Thorns, so that's why I'm deliberately going for that length of drive. With the Kingmaker here, looking for eagle and no more than that. Adding 4 top spin, and then we are going to play with the APOC and the Cataclysm, or the big dog, whichever you have that you want to use. Top of plus 10 with APOC 5 and above, and we're aiming towards the very tip of that fairway. APOC 4, you're going to be at P3 max rest, but still add your spin, 4 top spin, and just aim right down the tip of that fairway. Max plus 5, power 3 is what I go with in the video here. You will see I land slightly left of centre on the fairway after I've taken my shot. If you want to, you could play with power 4 numbers just to make sure that you're a bit more in the middle of the fairway. But bear in mind the second shot here is based on this drive placement. So if you want to tweak, of course, feel free to do so. But we're getting a good distance here of around 360 yards. Second shot, we're going to add 0.8 top spin and 3 left spin first. Then we find our position at P3 max rest, and you want the second bounce just where the rough line is. You might need to tweak the top spin if you had different distance of drive. Once we find that position, you respin to 0.8 topspin, so the same topspin, but you change to half a bar of left spin. Now it does look strange, but like I said, the wind is going to do the rest of the work here. We're adjusting max +5 power 3 settings. And then it's time to take our shot. Of course, important to hit perfect here with lower accuracy clubs. And we're going with no curl, just a perfect ball, and the wind will push us into the rough, and the top spin will roll us just nicely out onto the green. And all I'm looking for here is a safe way to reach the green and putt for the eagle. Another NMT setup with the quarterback and a kingmaker here. I've dropped this with multiple wind strengths as well. We're going to go with 1.8 backspin and 1.4 right spin. Unusual spin amounts, but take a token or two, put a tweak in if your eyes see the decimals a little bit different to me. But the adjustment here is min +15 power 3 settings. Min +15 power 3. I do 5.8 and then the remaining 5 to the bullseye. Just to have that said, try and replicate as much as you can here. And a perfect ball here, centering, no curl, no overpower, unless you're building in any tweaks. Bouncing very nicely over the rough and the sand, and we're rolling in for a hole in one. Here we're going to play with the kingmaker and the APOC, and we're going to go with 5.8 topspin, 2 right spin. This is all about getting the drive distance correct. Here you may, in some cases, roll down the slope. If you're doing that in practice, then reduce the topspin slightly. Topper +4 with APOC 5 and above. Topper +10 with APOC 4. I've got the clear ring touching the rough with APOC 5 and 6. You will have approximately half of the clear ring overlapping the rough with APOC 4. Max +10. Here I go with circle drop OP. But as I said, if you have more crosswind angle, you may not need the OP. It may get you to roll down the slope. So that's why I say take a token or two first. Otherwise, you might have to play with a different club. So try and build in some tweaks if you can. Ideally, you want to stop just before you roll down the big slope there, around 380 yards. Second shot, if you can play with the grizzly, that's what I've done here as your drop reference. But be prepared to improvise. If you do get a glitch roll down the slope, then you're going to be playing with a thorn, but it won't endanger the birdie. Adding spin as shown is going to be around 1.5 top spin, 1 left spin. Then we're pushing up rings from min and counting our rings from min until we have the red ring touching the rough. I've pushed up 11 rings from min here. Then I'm finding position with the red ring touching rough and the ball guide offset about half a green square away from the pin. Make sure you try and replicate that offset as best you can, because the wind is going to push us down to the right once we've cleared the rough. Rings from min, 15% elevation, pulling twice over the bullseye here, and 11 rings from min, that was coming out at 14% on the slider. So 14% slider, 15% elevation. Like I said though, try and get a bit more comfortable with the drive. Tweak the spin or the overpower if you're finding yourself rolling down the fairway a little bit too far. And the rings from min here though has been dropping very nicely for the eagle. If you are enjoying the free content here on the channel and want to help out and keep everything free, then please consider making a small donation. All donations are gratefully received and help me out here on the channel, as all of the content here is produced for free in my own spare time. You can do that in one of 3 ways. You can hit the thanks button here on YouTube, you can make a PayPal donation via the link in the description down below, or you can also join us over on Patreon. Details at the end of the video. Final par 5, we're going to play with the rock, blue ring touching the rough on the right at P3 max with the rock level 8, top of +15 with the rock level 9. 1 top spin, 3 right spin if you are worried about rolling into the rough or have higher wind with more tailwind, then by all means reduce the top spin by a few clicks. But ultimately the choice is yours. You've got to assess the wind angle. If you're worried, like I say, take a click or two off. You're still going to reach on the second shot. So if that is a concern, play with like 0.5, 0.6 topspin instead. Max plus 10, P3, 1.5 ball curl to the right, just before the circle drops with our overpower reference. Important not to apply any more than that, otherwise you risk rolling long. So take all of that into consideration when you weigh up how to play that drive, but for me, 342 yards is going to be fine. Second shot with a distance wood club, between 3.5 and 4 topspin and 1 bar side spin to the right. And then we're stretching out to max distance, having the ball guide pointing as shown in the middle of the bunker and the pin. Adjust max plus 10 power 3 settings. Then we're going to leave our target where it is and go with full overpower, but you will have a nice slow needle. Minor great left, minor great right. Still going to be fine here. You might want to tweak the top spin based on some testing, but for me, I've always trickled down onto the green very, very nicely indeed. And the idea here is to get safely on the green, and you're going to have a putt for your eagle on this par 5. Thank you for watching this video Thanks very much for watching this video here on the channel. If it has helped you in any way, please consider sharing it amongst your friends and clanmates in the game. Join us also on Facebook. Head over there, search for BK Golf Clash and join our free group. Loads of members there sharing shots. Free guides are posted, as well as loads of other great Golf Clash resources. So check us out there. You can join in the discussion and also leave feedback on the game in general. Finally, if you wish to help support the channel and keep the content free for everybody, please consider becoming a Patreon member. The link is in the video description down below. Good luck, see you soon, bye for now.